Hi guys, just gone 4:30 here in London. Last trading day of the week, month and quarter. So just have a quick look over the charts and how they're sort of looking to wrap up the session. Just keeping an eye here on Nasdaq and equities in general, which have been pushing up really for the last sort of hour or so. Just finding a bit of resistance here, as you can see on the R1 and yesterday's high. So it'll be interesting to see how that holds up around here before we then look to perhaps come back down and test the lows that we made yesterday. So we'll have a quick look over the charts in just a bit after just reviewing the data releases that came out today. Early this morning we had the final reading GDP out of the UK, completely in line year on year, 1.4 and 0.4 for the quarter on quarter. As you can expect from that, no reaction. Into the afternoon, data that came out, German inflation numbers slightly worse than expected, but again, no real reaction to that. Initial jobless claims was slightly better. Obviously, the lower tier data not really doing too much, and the PC and core PC completely in line. And again, as you would expect, no real reaction there. The only sort of reaction from that H1 data was the Canadian stuff, which I'm just going to bring onto the chart in a minute, which was worse than expected data. And let me just transition the chart over there. So you can see here we pushed higher, and literally as soon as we got up to what was really the high, the 22nd, we started to come all the way back down, and since then we have stayed within that range. Hit yesterday's low pretty much the tick, and we're now exactly probably back where we were trading as the data came out, which of course is the case every now and again. Elsewhere, let's just move on into sort of 3 o'clock. The Chicago PMI was actually quite a lot worse than expected, but still sort of within the ranges. Michigan consumer sentiment as well, slight miss. The dollar today, as we're speaking, actually has just started to strengthen, having been rather range bound. We'll run through the euro now, as you can see here. The range of the day, and we talked about this earlier in the briefing, where it could be a half decent point of entry around 124 in the futures, previous high in the day, and that did contain price action to the upside once, twice and 3 times. Just now, as I mentioned, the dollar just pushing to the high of the day, so euro dollar just pushing to a new low there. Also quite a key level, as you can see, let me just put this on a 60-minute chart, was also the low that we made. I'm just going to move the camera there, the low that we made here on the 22nd. So quite a key technical break going into the sort of the end of the quarter. And we also mentioned, well, Anthony mentioned this morning in the briefing about how there was suspected to be quite a bit of dollar buying into the end of the month, and that is sort of coming into fruition now. You see cable here just pushing through its low of the day in the S1 in terms of where we could sort of look to find support. You can see the sort of afternoon low on that 21st being pretty much hit there around 140.59 on the future. So one to keep an eye on if you are sticking around, but understandably with Easter on the cards for tomorrow, volume just slowing down a bit as people look to enjoy their long weekends. Having a look over at equities, just to mention, we were pushing higher from that cash open. Just going to lower the time frame down here 15 minutes. That 200-day moving average still working very well for the S&P, and we pushed higher really since that cash open, stuck within this range, and then finally looking to sort of break through, and now sort of residing around that R1. Levels to the upside, got to be aware, I think, really here where we started to push down on that late Tuesday evening, 26.45 and 3/4, one to bear in mind and keep an eye on. It's been an interesting, if we put this on for the quarter here, the S&P, let me just remove all the studies, clear this up, you can see is down. It would have been taking a very good day for us to finish the quarter up. And honestly, I wouldn't have actually been too surprised, but you can see here down on the quarter, down on the month. That's 2 down months in a row. Last time we did that, you can see here back end of the summer, what's that, September and well, the autumn I should say. Last time we had 3, you can see here December 15, January 16 and February 16. So statistically has been a while since we had 3, so we'll be keeping an eye on that going forward. The week as well, as you'd expect, to sort of finding, well, it's sorry, not a day, I meant to say, if we put this on a day, and that 200-day moving average up here, just to talk about, and then I keep this on the chart for a while. 200-day, apply that, and you can see how well that support happened at the beginning of February, and since then has held quite well. The last two times we were below. If I just move this chart to the left hand side and keep going, Trump pops above, below, and then right above on the same day, and then before that Brexit as well. So if we were to get down to those lows, keep an eye on that. You know, it's not necessarily going to be, you know, sell as the last two times we really did push higher. Also today marks almost exactly a year to Brexit. You can see the Brexit countdown begins. 365 days, 7 hours, 17 minutes and 33 seconds and counting. So not long to go. Definitely going to start seeing a bit more, I think, more chatter around this subject as the months come closer, as the time comes closer to that countdown. So definitely for cable it's going to be quite an interesting one. FTSE today actually pushed on through the high once this loads up. We were talking about this in the briefing of where could be a key resistance if we did push on, and around this R1 here. I'm just going to make this chart smaller. You can see all around that area, really nice resistance point from the lows that we had 13th and 15th, and around the 7100. So for now that's acting quite well, and you can see the market respected it quite nicely before coming back down lower. Nasdaq, as mentioned not long ago on the R1, key resistance with yesterday's highs, holding for now. What's the time now? 4:45. So one to keep an eye on if you are sticking around, but for the majority of the market it seems like time is sort of wrapping up here. Dollar yen today held quite nicely on the pivot. A few people were taking that on this morning, and since then that sort of high that we had yesterday offered good support, and you can see it's getting quite choppy now. I know from a longer term perspective, what with the trade war fears sort of just dying down a tad, bit of dollar buying into the end of the month. See a nice little rally here for the dollar yen. Nice trend line I would definitely still be looking to sort of have on here, see if we are getting contained for now. Been a tricky one though for the yen, what to do with equities coming down and the dollar strengthening, sort of deciding which way to go has been quite tricky. Also a market to keep an eye on, almost, let me just lower that time frame down, okay, just off its low. I was about to say it's just made a new low, but just off its low. Bitcoin, the lowest it's been for quite some time, as you can see here, really on a nice downtrend after sort of having that double top around the just under 12,000. You can see really key resistance previously as well in the beginning of 2018, mid-January there, and it's been coming down really now for the whole month, quite a large down month as well. Next key level, obviously 7,000, not far away, but also the low that we made here on the 7th on the futures there, just above that 7,215 for maybe some last ditch buying from the bulls, but we'll keep an eye on that going forward next week. So tomorrow markets going to be closed, and then on Monday the majority will be, apart from in America, so no bank holiday in America on Monday, Easter Monday in Europe. So still expect volume to be relatively low. I wouldn't really expect to see too much action on that Monday. But just looking at equities again, just to finish things up, as you can see yet again, a couple of days ago the 200-day moving average comes to rescue for the S&P, and we're just having another look here at trying to push higher. In terms of the bigger picture, let me just put this on a 240 minute. Still some very key levels to get through if we were even to think about pushing on, and it may well be that April comes to the rescue. It was in the last 10 years, 9 of those April finished higher, so statistically could be a good one. So just bear in mind that it'll be an interesting start to the week come Monday for equities in general, which if we just put that moving average on again here for the S&P, both the Nasdaq and the Dow, 1 second, moving average, haven't quite come to test theirs yet. So I definitely will get 200, 1 second. So here we go. I'm just going to take the pivots off here. So for now, holding S&P, Dow Jones. As you can see, still a bit to go, and the same with Nasdaq. So one to have on the charts at all times, I think, especially if we look to have a bit more selling. But April could well come to the rescue. Have a good day, good rest of the week. Enjoy your Easter. Any questions for those still in the chat, please do let me know. But yeah, have a good Easter holiday.